welcome to Early Care Connection. I'm Izzy Greenberg. Today we have our usual panel of experts, Meryl Gay from the Connecticut Early Childhood Alliance and Ava Bermuda Zimmerman from the Child Care for Connecticut's Future campaign, also doing double duty as our translator this morning, but we'll switch her off in a few minutes when Sandra, our usual translator, is able to join us. Okay, so just a reminder, before we get started, we've got a lot going on this morning. We've got folks from OEC here to talk about the portal and the 360 provider portal and Elevate. And so before I introduce them, I just want to give everyone a reminder that the chat is a great place for our community to share information with each other. It's also a good spot for technical difficulties. But if you have questions for any of our panelists, please use the Q&A. That will be sure that I am able to see them. I also know we've had a lot of folks who have seen, I just saw it pop up in the chat. Some folks are using AI assistants to take notes for meetings. And so there is a transcript being produced for a member. You all don't have to really worry about that. We are also at the same time producing a transcript, which anyone can go into more and download the transcript for themselves. I, in fact, use it sometimes if I'm multitasking, trying to get someone else set up, and then I have to figure out what I missed. So the transcript is actually a very helpful feature that anyone here can access. So just wanted to let you all know, because I've had some questions about that AI assistant. And so that's useful. Okay. Let's get into it. We are going to start out this morning by going through the OEC 360 provider portal. Taking the lead on that presentation is Dhwani Pandya, I said that wrong. And then she's the IT director for the Office of Early Childhood. She will be joined by Catherine Devine, who's the Chief of Staff, and Jill Marini, the Director of Strategic Initiatives and Cross-Agency Planning. After that, we're going to go into Elevate, and I will introduce that section of guests during that segment. So, Dhwani, I am going to turn it over to you, and you are welcome to share your screen and begin your presentation. Thank you so much for being here.
All right. Thank you so much, Izzy, for the lovely introduction. Yeah, like Izzy said, I am Dhwani Pandya, and I am the agency's IT director. And it is my absolute pleasure to present before you the OEC 360 provider portal. So just to give everybody some background knowledge about this project and this initiative. So this is a very heavy IT initiative for our agency. It brings together many of our data systems all in one place for the provider. That's why we've called it 360 provider portal, because it gives you a 360-degree access to the systems that we use for you, with you. Okay, so this was a vision of our commissioner, our deputy commissioner. We had held several listening sessions in, geez, now it was 2022, so a long time ago, but we heard from the providers that there should be just one place where we should be able to access all the information from the OEC that we put in the systems, and then as the system reflects back the information that they are putting in and that they're using, there should be just one place. So this is supposed to be that one place for the providers. So like I said, it is a 360 view of the interactions that you as providers are having with the OEC data systems. I figured, we would get into this frequently asked questions, which is going to be a little more helpful for you to understand the context of where we are and how we got here. And then, of course, we will show you the data system itself, the 360 provider portal itself, but these questions will give you the context and the frame of reference that's needed to bring you on board with what we will show the data system for. So first question, what is the portal and why would a provider want to look at this information in the portal? So the answer to that is the OEC 360 provider portal is an online web portal created to provide OEC providers a centralized view for all of their program information, provider information, child enrollment information, payment information, as well as the background check information. So as you can imagine, this portal integrates with multiple OEC data systems and consolidates all the data into a single view for the providers. The data system integrated with this provider portal include early childcare information system, IMPACT, which is the Care for Kids data system, early care and education data system, the e-license data system, registry data system, Core CT, which is our payment system, and the background check information system, as well as a newly formed data system, which is Elevate, which we will get into further details during the next portion of this meeting. All right, so that's number one. Number two, what features are there in the portal and what are its benefits? So the portal offers a lot of features. Well, it first integrates all of this data, but we've categorized the features that the portal offers in few categories. Okay, so first of all, it provides for provider account management. And what do we mean by that? The account management feature in the portal is associated with the login for each provider. So each provider has their own login to see their own programs, okay? And the account management system that we've decided to use for this particular project is the state of Connecticut's identity management, okay? That the system behind the scene is called ForgeRock. It is the one login that you have established at the state level. Okay, sometimes we call it a ct.gov login. This is the same login that you may have created for your DMV experience to renew your license or renew your trucking license or whatever the case may be. DMV uses the same thing. So and other, I think the health One Stop uses the same login, and so we've also created an experience where we can leverage the same state of Connecticut login. Okay, so that is provider account management feature. Then we have provider access management, okay, which is the access that the provider has to their program. So whichever programs you have access to in our existing data systems, we have brought together this experience for you to have access to all of those programs in a centralized sort of way. So just one login for the providers. Remember that provider account management feature that I just talked about, and then that one login will give you access to all the programs that you have. So that is provider access management feature. Then we have provider data linking integration, which is the core component of this entire data system. Okay, so as I said, integration with the agency data systems that I just mentioned, and providing that across these systems with a single OEC 360 provider portal record. Okay, then the next feature we have is the provider dashboard, okay, which shows the provider upon login. When you click on the dashboard, it'll show you all the programs that the provider has access to. And once again, this access is not coming from anywhere. It's coming from our data systems as the core system of record for all of this information. The next feature that we offer is multilinguality. So the provider has the capability of enabling whether they want to see the portal in Spanish or English. Okay, so that's another feature that we're offering. The next feature is that this is responsive in design, meaning that this is a user interface allowing the user, meaning the provider, to access the portal using various devices. For example, a desktop or a tablet or a laptop or any mobile device like a phone or whatever the case may be. So it is responsive in design. And then the final feature is the provider details. So it is based on this integration thing that that's the central theme that you want to take away from this presentation, is that there is a single provider 360 record for you, which has access to all of the data that there is from the program standpoint in our data systems, as well as from the provider standpoint from our data system. Okay, so next question. What information is there in the portal? So I know that we've worked with a bunch of you and you already know this, but this is just going into further information about each of the sections within the program in the portal. Okay, so as I said, there is a single provider 360 record for you in the portal, and then this record is associated with details coming from multiple places. Okay, it has enrollment details. Enrollment details can come from the ECE programs enrollment. It can come from Care for Kids. It can come from Birth to Three if this is a Birth to Three agency, or it can come from home visiting. Okay, so those are all the enrollment kind of applications. So you will see an enrollment details, and then these will be the data systems. Whatever is pertinent to your program is the only information that the portal will show you, but this is just to show you the depth of the integration that this portal offers. Okay, so enrollment details is the first section. Then we have payment details, where we have two sections. One is Care for Kids payments. So all the payments that your program receives as part of the Care for Kids programs is all listed in this one Care for Kids style. And then we have all other OEC payments. So like if you receive a stabilization payment or an ECE payment or whatever the case may be, anything that's other than Care for Kids payments is in this other OEC payment category. So we talked about enrollment details, we talked about payment details. The next is the licensing and program details. The program details also has multiple sections. One of them is licensing. So all of your licensing, your inspections, and all these other things that are associated with our licensing data system is one of the tiles. We have program information coming from our ECE system for the number of slots that your program has been awarded for CDC or school readiness or state Head Start or whatever the case may be. So that is another area of the program details. Then we have registry program details. So the program information that's tracked in a registry system regarding the program. So we have all of these different areas for program related information. Then we have background check details, okay, where if you are the provider or the director, and if you have that access today in our BCIS system to see the roster, then you're going to be able to see the roster for your program. You're going to be able to see which of your staff are expiring their background checks, or whether your staff are in good order or current status or not. All of those kinds of things are shown in the background check section within this portal. And then finally, we have Elevate details also as part of the program information, okay? And Elevate is our newest thing, and we'll learn about it more in the next section of this presentation. Okay, so a lot of information. How will OEC and other users use the information that is there in this portal? Okay, so the customer portal experience of this system is an absolute value add to the providers, okay? However, OEC 360 Provider Portal has also given the OEC a substantial data system behind the scene, okay? For the first time through this data system, OEC has a holistic picture of the program and the provider level data. So reporting becomes a little easier for us because otherwise we would have to take extracts from data systems and then match them up, and then it becomes all this data manipulation exercise for us. So this way we have, a reference to all of our programs and provider information in one place. Okay. And then one other thing also to highlight over here is that Commissioner Bai is leading the work in our agency of changing our mindset as division directors. And she wants us all to use what we call making data-driven decisions. That just means that taking all the information that's there, taking all the data that we can get from our data systems, using the data to create meaningful information and generate, sort of trends and generate some sense out of the data that we've been collecting. So this backend data system makes these data-driven decisions possible for our agency. We, as an agency, have also procured Tableau, and we have a Tableau developer who's going to create data visualizations for us for the kinds of information that we feel necessary to run on a frequent basis. So that is how we plan on leveraging that's how we want to leverage this data system, is for making data-driven decisions. Okay, so all this is great. What's next? So as we will see today with the Elevate, we are purposefully using the Salesforce backend data system as the system of record to roll out new functionality. Okay, and Elevate is the newest component, and then you will see how this is different from our other things that are integrated within this portal. Okay. All right, so briefly, I want to describe the rollout timeline that we have used or that we've created. So we had many phases of rollout for our center-based providers, and you can see the rollout timeline over here. I'm not going to go into much detail with each of these, but just to say that we have finished a full rollout for all of the centers. And we've heard from a couple of centers that have come to us and told us that, oh, we thought that you were done with the rollout, but we have not received anything. So I just want to make a clarification over here. The rollout invitations have gone to the center directors that we have on file in our licensing system. So your director may have received the email, and if they have not, then I highly recommend putting in a help desk ticket in our ticketing system to give you access. As we know about these programs that have not received, or that may have the invitation in their spam or whatever the case may be, we're happy to forward another or resend the invitation to you. But the program director receives the invitation, and then it is upon their discretion to open the portal up for other users within the program. So that's how we've rolled out, is that we send the invitation to the center director, and then the center director can make the assessment as to who from their program should be the users or could benefit from using the portal. Okay. Now, for the family childcare centers, we've done it has come to our attention that we need to spend more time with the family childcare home providers to get them onboarded with the kind of things that they need to know for submitting an Elevate plan or looking at their portal or whatever the case may be. So we've done small phased rollouts for them. But the major one is coming this Wednesday. We're opening it up to 60 providers. So as we open up the portal for more and more providers, we're fixing. Sometimes it's not fixing, but sometimes it's just, oh, this provider is much different than the other providers that we work in this way, and then that way, we make the system as much usable as we can with the resources that we have. So we don't know when we will fully roll out the family childcare homes just yet, but we're doing it in a managed sort of a phased rollout way so that we can assist the providers as much as we can for the help that they need to make themselves successful. Okay. Now I'm going to pass it over to Catherine Devine, our Chief of Staff.
Thank you, Dhwani. That was a really helpful and thorough overview. I really appreciate that. And thank you to Izzy and the team for having us. We really appreciate it. And hi, everyone. Good morning. We're really happy to be here. So Dhwani gave a lot of information, so I don't want to repeat too much. We can answer more questions, but a couple of things I really wanted to reiterate. She mentioned that the OEC 360 portal was born out of a series of listening sessions that we conducted in August and September of 2022. And we really took that feedback to heart, and we wanted to build that into this portal and how we roll out new systems going forward. So one thing Dhwani mentioned about reframing how directors in the OEC thinks about data, we also really want our agency resources and systems to be really proactive instead of reactive. And so one of the things that we heard from providers, from you all, is information is coming from a lot of different sources. It's hard to know, which one is important to look at first. They feel a little bit disparate. And if I have an issue, where can I go to first for support? So we really wanted this to be a place that had forthright information. We have a checklist of upcoming tasks and to-dos on your own portal. So when we get through the actual dashboard, we can walk through those features more, but there is a place where all of the communications from OEC are saved. You have upcoming tasks for your own centers, so you don't miss any deadlines and you're aware of anything upcoming. And you can search for information and communication from OEC, so all of that is really available to you. So as Dhwani mentioned, we did a series of test runs for this, and we really took the feedback and built that in so that we made sure by the time it was rolled out fully that we've incorporated all of the feedback and made any changes that we could. One thing about the portal is that most of the information, aside from Elevate, is read-only right now. So I think that's an important element to mention, is that when you log in, you have all the information and you can see everything connected, you can have reports. Elevate, you are able to go in and edit, but we are also kind of taking information and seeing, what is the ideal state of this going forward and what we're able to change now. So we're really taking that information to heart. We have a series of job aids and resources. So we have one-pagers and information of how to use the OEC 360 portal with screenshots and clear step-by-step guides. We have recorded a series of these videos for different stakeholders. So we have the centers, the family providers, so you can watch back the recording that makes the most sense for you. We've also had a series of kind of open house hours that we were available on Teams to answer questions with our IT providers and the engineers who could really answer questions in the back end. I'm sorry, I'm seeing some chats. I don't know if there's anything I need to stop.
Nope,
kind of answer
you're good
right
for now. Yep, I'll ask questions at the end.
Okay, thank you. I just want to make sure I address anything that comes up. And again, we're really committed to continually improving the experience, taking feedback, and making sure that this is a really collaborative process, and that it really is the best use case for you all, right? We want to make a product and a system that is functional, that fits into your day-to-day. As Dhwani mentioned, there is the desktop. We also have it remote view. So if you need to check something on your phone or your tablet, there's different languages to translate into. So we want to make this as accessible as possible. Are there any other questions I can answer now, or if that's at the very end?
Well, there was a question about whether you need to be given a link invitation or how you end up getting that.
That's the perfect transition. I'll hand that over to Jim.
Thank you. Before I start the demo, I do want to say that I'm going to go through this demo in 10 to 15 minutes, and it normally takes over an hour. However, as soon as I'm done with the demonstration in the chat, I will put the PDFs and PDF instructions in Spanish and English, as well as the link to one of our hour-long sessions that takes you from sign-in, what that looks like, and how to do that. As I'm going through the presentation, I just put your mind at ease. If you haven't got the invitation or you haven't received it yet, do what Dwani has asked and reach out to, you can put it in through the regular help desk where you put your ECE reporter help tickets or your BCIS help tickets. On the drop-down menu, you'll choose 360. So if you haven't gotten it or you don't know where it is, I don't want you to have to put questions in the chat asking where do I get it. It'll just clog up the chat. So I wanted to start with that. Okay, Dwani, I am going to share my screen. So if you could stop sharing yours.
There's just so you know, there are a lot of questions about how to register, having problems with registering, is registration voluntary, mandatory, et cetera. So there's a lot of that kind of question in here.
Okay, so again, you will get an email from Sandbox asking you to share that. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, so you will log in. And again, there's several steps to log in. I'm going to put those the PDF instructions in the chat. And I'm also going to put a video in the chat that will address all of your questions on how to get your account, what you do to log in, and what that process is. But for sake of time today, because as you said, we have a lot of things to cover, I'm going to give a very brief overview of the Provider 360. What I do want to say is this is just the beginning. I'm always pushing Dwani, like, what else can we do? Can we use it to do this? Can we do that? Because I've been a provider, and I will try to talk more slower, Eva, I'm sorry. But when you log in, this is what you will see. And I'm going to start very briefly up here. You can find any information that is on our website in this blue bar up here. You can also find a click to the link to the provider help desk right here. If you get in there and you have a question, you can put a ticket in right there. Your dashboard, this is your dashboard. And let me just get through the other things on this side before I jump into the dashboard. Manage 360 access. If you are a director, you can invite an assistant director or somebody else as a level 2 to help you manage the system and have access to all of your program information. If you just want to invite your staff members to have access to see their information only, you assign them a level 1. Again, more instructions in the PDF and the video I'm going to send along. Notifications, it's not active yet, but once it is active, it will be amazing. Any email that comes out to you from OEC will be automatically sent to this notifications bar. So if you remember during COVID, when we were getting all the COVID memos and you had to search in your email, no longer. They will be in the notifications section here. You click there, they will be there. I remember Catherine talking about your action items up here. It tells me that my Care for Kids health and safety orientation is not compliant. That probably means that one of my staff members or more than one of my staff members haven't completed either their first aid, CPR, or their admin meds. If I click here, it'll take me directly to the registry. I also want to let you know in the instructions that will be sent out, you can, if you are a director of multi-agencies, you can see all of your programs here. And the instructions for taking care of that, again, are in the video and the PDF I'm going to send out. So we're going to go into our testing demo. This is what it'll look like. It'll have the name of the program here. It tells me I'm active. It automatically lists my registry ID and license number. When I click View Summary, it's going to take me into some of the things that Dwani was talking about. It will always list your license number and your registry number and your address. Then it has what is missing in this demo, just so you know, is the BCIS tab. There's a BCIS tab on yours, and you can log in and it shows you read only of your BCIS roster. It'll say the person's name, date of birth, their status, their BCIS ID, and when they expire. So how do we use this system? So if you go into Program Summary, you're going to click the down arrow. And I noticed, I can't remember if it was Catherine or Dwani said something about enrollment. that is only, you can see the enrollment for any children who are enrolled in any of your state-funded programs. I just wanted to bring that up. So under program, if you click new details here, it's going to show you, I'm going to do it super quick, and I'm probably only going to open a couple of these because it does take a while to open on the demo. This will list any of the funding that you receive for OEC for either school readiness or CDC or State Head Start right now. It'll tell you how many spaces you're awarded and what they look like. Childcare licensing, this is very, very interesting. You can go in here. I'm going to go into this one. You can go in here and it tells you, you know, your license number, your capacity, the ages you serve. You can get a copy of your license. You can't lost a copy of your license. The licensor is there. You need to post it. You can get it right here. Talks about your hours of operation. Down here, it lists all of your licensing visits. And this is good as a current director to keep track of things. Or if you're a new director who just came on board and you want to look back at the history of your licensing inspections and see where the program may have had challenges or there's things that you can strengthen, you can find them there. Elevate, I'm not going to touch that one because my friends at Elevate are going to touch it later. Again, you're getting the 15-minute spiel that's normally an hour. The professional registry, if you go into there, it'll list your registry ID for your program. It will list your QSMs, your NIAC number, all of that information that you can see when you log into the registry. Under enrollment, we have state-funded care and education. This is where you will see the enrollment for all of the children who are enrolled in state-funded positions or slots. I do want to note too that every tile is updated. It'll have the last date that it was updated here. You have to know that if you go into BCIS and you add somebody to your roster today, it will not show up till tomorrow. It runs overnight to update, but you'll always see the last date that it was updated here. And in each one of these blocks where there's another link or another website that you would go in to actually do things, it has the link here. So here's the ECE portal. Over here is the Care for Kids portal. Into the Care for Kids slot, this one will list all of your children who receive Care for Kids funding and their ID numbers. Birth to 3, if you're a program that that services children for birth to 3, your information will be in here. And the same thing for home visiting. Again, I'm going really fast. You can find more details in the information I'm going to put in the chat. Payment summaries. So any payments that you receive from OEC will be here. And if you remember during the pandemic, like we would get payments and my finance company, my finance department would call me and say, what is this payment for? I'm like, I don't know, but this will tell you exactly what everything is for. It's the payment ID, the date it was made, the amount that was paid, the invoice that was paid, the total invoice, its description, and a message. These codes, if you ever think to myself, like this one right here, this is a CDC payment. Some of them, if you don't know the codes, but you're able to reach out to somebody to support you, if you give them this information, they will be able to tell you exactly what those payments that you received from OEC were. And then over here is your Care for Kids payments. If you click this, it will list the payment ID, the day it was issued, the gross amount, the pending status, the payment status, and the family fee. I do want to note that everyone, you can search. Most of these have searches where it's multiple entries down here. You can enter different items here and you can use the search by entering the information that you're looking for and hitting apply. And then the professional registry participant summary, that is your individual as a director. It'll just be your personal information. So I did it with 2 minutes to spare. I usually do it in an hour. The video I'm going to put in the link will give you much, much more detail. We also have the PDF links in that I will put in there. And we of course take questions at the end. The help desk, you can use the normal link that you use for the help desk to enter a help desk question just on the drop down menu for while you're putting a help desk ticket in, you're going to pick or choose 360 per portal. And
Uh,
I don't know if we're going to pause now for questions or we're going to go right into Elevate.
I think the best thing to do, we have a number of questions here, but a lot of them look as though they could be answered in writing. So I would ask the three of you to go into the Q&A and try to answer some of those in writing. If that's not possible, then at the end of the next segment, then I'll ask all of the questions, and whoever is best to answer them can answer them. Jill, do you know if the links that you're sharing are in English and Spanish?
So right now they're only in English. We did our first Spanish session last week, and I believe we'll be doing a Spanish recording this week, Wednesday. So hopefully by later this week, we'll be able to get the Spanish speaking.
Okay, and can you send us those links to share out with folks once they're available?
Yep, and I emailed you this morning just so you have them. If anybody asks, the PDFs and the link for the English one. I'm also going to put everything in the chat now.
Great, and those links will be available with the recording up on our YouTube channel. You can go to Early Care Connection. I think it's YouTube/Early Care Connection to get to the recording. That will be up in the next 24 hours, and the links to any of these things will be included in the description of that video. In the meantime, when those Spanish things do come out, we can add them to that recording and also send those out to folks. Okay, thank you so much, Jill.
I would also like to just add too, you'll notice we don't have all the information on our website yet. We want to build that out with the resources that we're creating now. So we will have one landing page on the OEC.gov website that has these recordings and job aids, but we want to make sure that it's kind of rolled out personally first. And we want to have a space where new directors and new staff have that information. So look for that in the next few months as well.
All right, great. Thank you so much. Let's take a quick pause on that and move to our next segment. We are going to now talk about Elevate. I'm going to invite in Jeannie Renier, excuse me, and Danielle Gallup. Jeannie works as the Quality Improvement Systems Manager for Office of Early Childhood, and Danielle Gallup is the owner of Honey Tree Preschool. So Jeannie, let me turn it over to you, and we'll go through this section. Again, if folks can answer the questions in the Q&A in writing, whatever doesn't get answered, we will ask those out loud after this segment is over. Jeannie, go ahead.
Thank you so much. I'm going to share my screen. How are we looking?
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
Good morning, everyone. So here is Elevate. So I want to talk about Elevate, and we're going to talk about the 360 portal. I do have a lot of information for you. You can take out your pen and pencil. However, we will share the PowerPoint with you. And also, if you do have any questions, if you can hold off until the end, because I might answer them for you as we go through. So that might be helpful, so you won't have to type as fast through the whole PowerPoint. So what I want to let you know is that Elevate is free. So we're excited to share this resource with you through the Office of Early Childhood. All licensed and license exempt providers are automatically engaged as members through Elevate. So yay! Leveling up in Elevate is not a requirement. So we are here to provide resources for you, and I'm going to dive into that. Member accredited is the highest level of engagement through Elevate, and that includes NAEYC accreditation, NAFCC accreditation for the family child care, and Head Start or Early Head Start approved programs. And then this piece, service navigators are experienced guides who can connect you to resources regardless of your level engagement. So I want to dive into these pieces for you. So service navigators are the big backbone of what Elevate is. So service navigators are here to support you, again, regardless of your program, where you are. They're the resources. I always joke with them that they're the Google search. They're the ones that you can call with whatever help you need within your program, regardless of if you're just starting out with your program or if you've been teaching for 40 years. They can connect you to new resources. You don't know what you don't know. So if you're really struggling with something, maybe there's a grant opportunity that's out there that you don't know about, you can call your service navigator and say, what are the opportunities in my area? What's out there for me? They can connect you to those opportunities. So it's really great to give them a call, shoot them an email, and they can help you out. As you'll see through this PowerPoint, we have little sprinklings of QR codes that can help you get directly to these points on our website. And you can also go directly to the OEC website and get everything Elevate. And again, this is going to be shared with you, so you'll have direct connections to everything that you'll need to get connected to Elevate. And as you'll see, we do have 4 navigators. Diana Reyes is our Spanish-speaking navigator, and we have Karen Bent, Pamela Lavasser, and Dina Miranda, I'm so sorry. I'm going too fast. I'm so excited. We also are very connected to our staff family childcare networks. They're the service navigators for our family childcare providers. So again, we have all of their information through our Elevate webpage, and again, our QR codes, and we work very closely with them. They know everything Elevate. We work together. We meet all the time to support you as providers, so that you can get all of the resources you need and that you can also level up and elevate if you so choose. Here you will see this is our main Elevate website page, so ctoec.org/elevate. And so the process here to really engage and Elevate, again, if you so choose, is to really start with service navigation. If you don't know what you want to do, where you want to go, service navigation is here to help. So start out with your service navigator, and then from there they can guide you. What we're really looking for, if you're looking to level up, or even if you're just looking to build a quality improvement plan, to really say, hey, I'm looking to maybe build a curriculum. I want to implement some new things in my program. Even if you don't want to level up and elevate, but you're thinking of taking some steps to build your quality, there's some great resources on the website. And so you can watch our SMART Goals webinars. They're brand new this year that you can go on and check out. We have focus areas that really pinpoint different things. You can focus on building your team. You can focus on engaging children and families within your program. So go on and check those out. You can learn how to create an Elevate program plan with different steps and tools that are there to support you. You can print things out. You can download. You can work on your computer. A lot of things are accessible on your tablet, on your phone. We're really trying to work with all providers to make things all accessible to you. So we're really trying to listen to what you need so that we can support you in the best way possible. And so everything that we're offering in our new way of actually submitting the Elevate program plan, which the team before with Jill and Dewani and Catherine alluded to, is that the OEC 360 provider portal is being able to submit your plan electronically, which is huge, and it's been a big support for us. And so we provide a step-by-step guide of instructions with pictures and arrows and links and supports for you to be able to do that. Of course, you can do it on your own, and you can also, again, call your service navigator, call your staff family childcare network support, and they can help you submit a plan if that's something that you would like to do for your program to really build in that quality improvement and continue that growth within your program. And so if you're interested in doing a plan, what it contains is you have the ability to really do 1 to 3 SMART goals. 1 is a requirement. You can do up to 3. We really want you to build a plan that you can really be successful with. We have a lot of lofty goals and lots of things that we want to do within our program, but we ask you to really break it down and think about what can you achieve in the next 12 months. And so if you need support with that, if you want to talk with somebody, again, the service navigators and the Staff Family Child Care Network can help you walk through that process, kind of gauge, what it is you really want to work on in your own program based on your needs. Our children and families' needs change year to year. Our community needs change year to year. So what is it you want to work on for this year to build that quality improvement within your program? They can help guide you through that process to be able to develop this plan. Now, our plan has a couple different components for center and group home and family child care. And so I'll tell you a little bit more about that piece after. But centers and group homes, the plans we ask also for professional development and educator professional development plans. So there's two more components that we do require that is a little different than the family child care programs. Once your plan is approved, you submit it to the Office of Early Childhood. We have a team that really goes through the plans, and then we offer supports if maybe there's missing pieces, or we want to give you some more guidance on how you can get your plan to be a little bit more achievable within that time frame. And then once your plan is approved, then you get Member Plus, and you have that year to work on meeting your goals. And again, we're not expecting everybody to meet their goals within that year, but we're hoping that you can make steps to build that quality improvement, and hopefully you can make steps to reaching that goal. And if you are able to achieve those goals in full, then that's amazing too. So you will see some of the resources we have on our site include how to do SMART goals. We have documents, again, that you can review and print. We do offer everything in English and Spanish. These are just some snapshots of the webinars that we offer. These are two new webinars that really dive into how to make a SMART goal, and they're in English and Spanish. So we're encouraging everybody, regardless of your program, if you're family child care or center or group home based, that you really look at these before you start diving into creating a plan, because this will really support you in the process. And if you look here, this is the part on our website that is going to really help you in being able to create your plan. And we are encouraging all providers, if you're ready for that next step to actually create that plan to build your quality improvement and submit it to the OEC to get that Member Plus level of engagement, that this is where you start. Creating an Elevate program plan, we want you to start at step 1, which is reflecting on your program, and then going through the different steps to see, making sure that you're lining everything up, you're going through the different tools, you're really kind of assessing your program to see where you really want to be before you're diving into actually creating the plan. Now, when you're really ready to create the plan, you are going to dive into submitting your plan. And this is where Dewani and Jill and Catherine were talking about in the OEC 360 provider portal in being ready to submit your plan. Now, in the past, if you're on here and you're Member Plus and you did the plan, it was a Word document. And so what we really did was we teamed up with Dewani and our developers, and we said, how can we make this a lot easier for providers? We were noticing that people were trying to be able to submit plans on their phone or on a tablet. And so it was a struggle. And so what we did was we decided to put it in the OEC 360 provider portal. Now, as Dewani and Jill spoke to, the portal is brand new, right? We're all just learning about it. And so it's very important that when you go onto the Create and Elevate program plan site and you go to step 6, and I have it bolded here on the bottom, review step 6, because we do have some embedded instructions there that will help you, specifically if you're a family child care provider. As Dewani said, we are starting to roll this out to family child care providers. And so if you are interested in creating your Elevate program plan, you need to get into the system before you can do so. And so you need to go onto this site and you need to register for the training. And so we have an easy link that you can click on and you can register for the training, and then we will set you up for the training. Usually within 2 weeks, you're going to get an email to let you know when your training is, and you will get your username, your password, and your foundational information to be able to get onto the OEC 360 provider portal. This is the most important step, is to register for that training. Okay, and then also you want to make sure that you're ready to create your plan. So we're looking to make sure that you actually follow steps 1 through 5 before you're filling out the registration form for the training. So we really want you to be ready to create that plan before you're making that next step. And of course, please reach out to your Staff Family Child Care Network or your service navigator so that we can get you ready to do that, because the OEC 360 provider portal system is going to provide that opportunity for you to type up your plan and submit it. So you can actually develop and create your plan before you get onto the portal. So you can have everything all set and ready to go. And then once Dewani and her team gets you onto the portal, you can be ready to submit, which is fantastic. And if you are a center or group home, you will want to also, I know Dewani and Jill gave you information on that as well. And we also have that information if you're ready to submit a plan, that you can go onto this site and we have a link for you to click that can direct you to getting support if you did not get that initial link to be able to get into the portal. All right, so this is what it's going to look like. Jill had the system up for you, and that view detail tab that she clicked on is the same for Elevate and all of the tabs within the portal. And so when you click the Elevate tab, you're going to see this tab that says add a new plan. And this is the exciting part. It is so user-friendly. Dewani and our developing team has really listened to our words and our support in being able to do this. And so you add a new plan and then you can go in here and create. And what's so great about it is that it's user-friendly, and I'm going to have, I want Danielle, can you pop on? Danielle was able to create her plan, and I just wanted her to give her user experience and let us know how it went for her.
Hi, everyone. We found it extremely easy. As long as your program is listed and your Elevate option is available, it's very, very straightforward. The steps are simple. We created our plan in the old system, and it was easy to like copy and paste. But if you even handwrite and retype it here, again, it's very straightforward, very easy to follow. And I think that the whole program was outlined so well to make it easy for us to develop the plan. I also spoke with Karen, who is our navigator, and she's fantastic. If you guys have any questions, definitely use all of the resources.
Thank you so much, Danielle. And you'll also see that on the website, we have in our instructions, we give you step-by-step guide, and also the website is formatted to your program. So if you're a family childcare program, you're not going to see items that don't pertain to you. If you're a center, you will see the items that are for you. So you will see the program professional development plan. You will see the educator plan come up for you. Because it's conditioned that way through the program. And if you are a family childcare provider, you won't see those things because it doesn't pertain to you. So you won't have to worry about, do I have to do this or don't I have to do that? It's all set up for you and all conditioned for you, which is amazing. So you don't have to worry about clicking the right things or not. And the instructions are all there to support you. And so just a couple more things really quick we wanted to let you know about. We do have some great incentives going on right now. So we are extending the original $1,480 incentive for center, group home, and family childcare member providers who submit their program plans. So once you're approved and you become Member Plus, you are eligible for that incentive. And I did put this QR code. We do have some eligibility requirements. So you can go on there. Again, you have to be a member and you have to have an approved plan to become Member Plus. So you can go on the website and check your eligibility for that. And then coming soon this summer, if you are a Member Plus and you renew your plan in the system, you are eligible for a $1,000 incentive for renewing your plan. So again, that's coming soon, and we will have more information up on the website. That won't be coming until this summer. And then coming up, we also have another incentive. So providers who complete a visit and a follow-up planning session with their OEC Service Navigator will receive a $100 voucher for learning supplies to Kaplan Early Learning Company. And so we will have a registration for a site visit. So that registration will be available beginning next Monday. And so that will be available on our website as well. And again, these, the training session for family childcare providers, and then this registration link is a form that you click on the link and it'll pop up and you can register. It's very user-friendly, English and Spanish, and you will be able to register for that. And we also have webinars that will be coming up. And please, please join us for our Elevate office hours. We offer them every month. We do English and Spanish. We are showing providers and programs how to utilize the OEC 360 provider portal system currently so that you can go on, use your plan. We're showing you how to navigate the website and all of the resources we have available. And we will be, look out for us on the listserv and in your email for all of our upcoming webinars. And you can register for our office hours right on our website on the Service Navigator page. And again, you can utilize the QR code link that I have available on here. And again, you will get this page. So that is all I have for you today. And I don't know if you have any questions that you would like me to answer now.
Great, thank you so much. Let me maybe, Meryl, are you available? I'm going to start with you and then also move to Ava before we get into questions. Meryl, you available? There you go.
Yes. So are you calling on me to ask questions or are you calling on me to talk about?
Yes, I was calling on you to ask questions. Apologies,
Okay.
that was not
All
clear.
right.
I know you usually have a good pulse on kind of the big high level questions that folks are thinking about. So I was just curious if you had that, and also put a bookmark in. Last week, Commissioner Bai did mention that we would have some time with folks today to talk about QWI. And so just wanted to put that little pin there.
I know that Deb wanted to answer that one live. So
yes, so we'll get to that in a couple of minutes. Or
yeah.
Well, we could do that. Actually, we can
yeah,
start.
why don't we do that? Let's do that.
Deb, why don't we start with that? Okay. I'll turn it over to you, Deb Fliss from the Office of Early Childhood, to talk about QWI, which came from last week's conversation with Commissioner Bai.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. I just want to say that we have reviewed every question that came up in last week's session, and we will come back and do another session here on QWI. Right now, I'm going to put the link to the webpage in the chat so everyone can access it. And I want to point out to everyone that they can scroll to the bottom of that webpage to see the link to the frequently asked questions on QWI. There were a number of questions that were in last week's call chat that directly aligned to some of the FAQs. There were a number of questions that had some nuance that we will definitely address next time we come and talk about QWI. And if people have other questions that were not part of the conversation and that were not raised last week, I'd be happy to have those emailed to me. I will put my email address in the chat as well. And please put QWI in the subject line so I can find them and make sure that we get those all together so that we can answer all of the questions next week.
Okay, great.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Meryl.
So there are a couple of questions here about the $1,480. Maybe Jeanine?
Jeannie.
Jeannie, okay, sorry.
Sure.
So there, one is the 1480 still available if the plan is approved? Another is the 1480 per staff or for the whole program? If it's per site, it comes to about $75 per person for a 20 staff center. This seems unfair. If a group home and family can't get the full 1480 each, directors can't keep the incentive for themselves. So those are the two that I'm seeing right now.
Great, yeah, so the 1480 is for the program and it's for each license. And so it's for, if it's for an approved plan. And so if a program is approved, they can use that money for quality improvement. So they can use it towards anything that they see fit. Some programs are using it towards improving items that are on their plan. It might be towards materials, you know, for if they're developing their gross motor areas for materials. It could be for supplies, things like that. So anything that they see fit within their program. And it is still available. Yep.
Danielle,
Yeah,
can I ask how you are using that?
One of our incentives is to create a science center in every single class, like a very comprehensive science center. So we divided part of that money to give each classroom a budget in order to buy the tools necessary to facilitate those centers.
Okay, so the intent is not to have the money go directly to the teachers, but to use the money for implementing the plan within the space.
right. I think that question was confusing the quality workforce incentives with the
Yes.
Plan incentive. So my understanding is we're going to
Meryl, let me just say, it was hard for folks to hear Danielle, but just I'll reiterate, she said she's using those funds to put science equipment into each classroom. And so there was an allocation per classroom to improve their science spaces. I'm sorry, I'm not using the exact words, but something roughly along those lines. Thank you, Danielle. I think there's a little bit of an issue with your audio. Okay, Meryl, sorry, back to you.
So this session, obviously, it has been a full session. I think we're going to talk about quality workforce enhancements another time. Is that correct?
That's what it sounded like.
Yeah. Okay. So more answers about quality workforce enhancement in a future meeting.
And Deb, did you say the date that you had intended to come back? I'm sorry if I
Well,
missed it.
so let's have the conversation in public. We can
Great.
come next week if you're willing to have us next week.
Next week, Meryl and Ava, next week's a little tight. Do we want to do the 20th?
Do we have something scheduled for next week?
We do. Yep. That is the National Day Without Childcare.
Okay.
20th.
Can you do the 20th?
We
No.
cannot do the 20th.
Okay. So why don't we find some time to do it on next week? We'll figure out how we
Yeah.
can make that work. And we'll just divide the time between those two topics. So we'll plan on that for next week. Great. That helps us now to move the conversation along in these other areas. Okay, Meryl, back to you.
Okay, so there are some questions here about the sort of getting into the portal. There's somebody here said, I'm in need of clarification. I'm the director of a center-based program. Should I have already received an invite link to the portal, or is it forthcoming?
I can answer that question. So for the center-based providers, you should have received an invite, but sometimes, as these emails come in, they go in a person's spam folder or whatever the case may be. And if it's a few days old, then the system might automatically delete them. Sometimes we've had issues where certain ISPs block certain emails as well. So if you've not received an email, if you can file a help desk ticket in for your program, give us your license number, then we can manually send you an invite or resend you the invite that we had sent before. And if that doesn't work, then our help desk support agent will get on the call with you and we'll make sure that you get the invite. We can also read the verification code to you if the email is not working. So there are means that are in place for you to get access. So just let us know and we'll give you the access.
Ronnie, could you put a link to where you enter a help ticket?
Help desk, I did not, but that would be a great thing for me to do. Thank you.
Okay, so, and then I'm seeing a question here, any plans for QWI to expand to family childcare? My understanding is that anything dealing with family childcare is related to the union contract. OEC can't go create a new thing outside of the contract. So QWI, the Quality Workforce Enhancement, is aimed at centers, and we'll talk more about that in the future. Next week. And there's a question in Spanish that somebody who reads Spanish is going to have to help me with.
Yep, that one is Rocio. I think actually that one looks like it's pretty specific. So I'll let you answer that one maybe in writing. Does can one of you write in Spanish to work
If
on
they
that one?
write back, so what I've just a
Write in
heads up
English
for
and Eva can translate. Is that
correct? So for our
Perfect.
Spanish speakers on the call, because a lot of the questions in the Q&A were pretty global, what I went ahead and did is I translated all of them into Spanish. So any answer that the OEC team just gave for a Q&A question in English in the Q&A, then I translated into Spanish. So if you are a Spanish speaker out there saying, wait, they had all these questions and I don't want to miss out, you didn't miss out. Just go back to the Q&A and you can see all of the answers in Spanish.
yes?
Then I am seeing a question about, does Elevate expand to school age, or is it just for under 5?
It is for licensed
So it
programs.
does. So it does include licensed school age programs as well.
Correct.
Programs that are operating in a school license exempt would not be included, right?
They can participate in Elevate. They just wouldn't be eligible for the incentive. Correct.
Okay.
One of those Spanish questions is pretty curious. It says that the person, this particular provider, entered into the Provider 360 portal with someone else's special link, and it didn't seem to work. Can you explain what happens if you enter with someone else's special link?
Yeah, I can answer that question. So if you try to use someone else's link, it's not going to work because your particular provider record has a verification code that will only work with your program and with your provider record. So everything is kept in such a way that you're not able to access other person's information. So if you did that by accident, then it should not have linked you in the first place. And then what you can do is you can request a help desk ticket. You can put in a help desk ticket requesting access to your program, and then we will give you that link.
Okay, that's helpful. And then there's a handful of providers here. Jasmine just wrote, she also currently is part of the childcare apprenticeship program, and she wants to know how apprenticeship programs connect with the Elevate program. What is the relationship between being part of the apprenticeship, the early childhood registry, and then now part of Elevate.
That's a lot. So the connection with the apprenticeship, Elevate. So any program can engage with Elevate, right? Because, excuse me, Elevate offers resources and supports to any program. So if you're in an apprenticeship, you can still engage in Elevate, right, to get resources and support. And I'm going to throw it over to Deb to maybe elaborate.
Sure, I'm just going to add one little part, which is that any of the planning that the individual would be doing around advancing their own educational qualifications or making changes in their program based on the work that they're doing in the apprenticeship program could be documented in the Elevate program plan and would be the substance on which they base their leveling up from member to member plus. So this is a really good example of providers not needing to do duplicative work in order to move from member to member plus. This would be a provider who's already engaged in some important quality improvement work and would just need to document that work in order to move forward in their plan. A service navigator would be able to help them work through the process of designing the SMART goals to describe the work that they're doing, but everything that they're doing in that apprenticeship program would be usable in the Elevate program plan.
Okay. All right. The last question here is, will Elevate keep track of the bonuses and incentives OEC is giving a program? Do providers need to show how they're spending the funds? And is documentation needed for audit reasons?
That's a great question. Yes, we do keep track of obviously what we're spending and we're giving to providers. We do not need to know exactly what you are spending the money on. We are providing the money that you are using it to use for quality improvement within your program. And so that is all that we need to support, and that's how it's being documented as.
Okay. I think that is the last question. You can see, oh, it didn't just pop up here. Oh, yeah, no, that's a license question. We also will.
I think you've got a couple of people who put their license numbers in because they'd like to get invited to the next round of the family child care invitations.
And we will send all of the Q&A to you guys so that you can, I mean, fine if you want to copy it down now, but we'll also send that out to you guys for afterwards. I think that's the end of questioning. Marilyn, Ava, did you have anything else that you wanted to talk about here?
Not about Elevate, but about the end of the legislative session, yes.
All right, great. So let me wrap this segment up then, and thank you all from Office of Early Childhood for being here, and also obviously Danielle, who took time to give us a little bit of a provider perspective this morning. We will see you all next week. Just so you know, we also have Congresswoman Hayes on next week, and so we'll behind the scenes we will figure out what the timing is for all of that. It is a National Day Without Childcare. It's a big action nationally. To sort of show the worth of this industry and help people to imagine what life would be like without it. So we will have different legislators kind of participating in that day in different ways. I think Senator Blumenthal is participating, but maybe in a live event, and Congresswoman Hayes will be here joining us next Monday morning. So folks, show up. It's always good to have a good showing when we have lawmakers here to prove how much we need them and how many people are paying attention. And then we will coordinate with the Office of Early Childhood as well to figure out how we can get the QWI conversation fit into that. So I would say save a little extra time next week. We don't often go to 11, but we will likely next week like we did today. So thank you to all of you. And let me now turn it over actually to Meryl and Ava to give us their legislative update I'm
Okay.
actually going to jump off. So I'm going to say goodbye to everyone. Ava and Meryl are going to wrap this up, and we will see you all. I will see you all next week. Meryl and Ava, I'm turning it over to you to give legislative updates now. Thank you.
Okay. So there are 3 days left in the legislative session. We will wrap up at midnight on Wednesday. This morning, the budget implementer came out. It appropriates about $25 million of ARPA funds for OEC programs, including $18 million for Care for Kids, 18.8, a little bit for TriShare, a little bit for Smart Start. It appropriates some money for to fill the birth to 3 deficiency, and assuming that House Bill 5002 passes, it will fund a wage supplement for a one-time wage supplement for folks who work in the state-funded child development and school readiness programs. So at this point, the bills that are alive are 5002 and Senate Bill 14, which has wrapped in a bunch of other bills, including the incubator bill, the Senate Bill 152 that was the, no, 152 got put into 5002, sorry. So essentially there are 3 things. There's Senate Bill 14, House Bill 5002, and the budget. We expect the budget's going to get voted on today, and the Senate has passed Senate Bill 14, and the House has passed 5002, so that now they need to switch and pass the other chamber's priority bill. And I think that's pretty much it. Maggie's got her hand up. Okay. You want to fill in some details there, Maggie?
Just one other thing, Meryl, I noticed, and it doesn't affect everyone, but there is $50 million for private providers.
Yeah.
And to my knowledge, that does impacts the state-funded early care and education programs, birth to 3, and home visiting. But I'm confirming that.
Yeah. Okay.
And I just want to clarify the Smart Start, that 1.2 million, that's not additional funding. That's funding to sustain 1.2 in our Smart Start for recovery that was funded with COVID ARPA funds. That's about 240 seats for children.
So basically it means that they don't have to close down this September.
Exactly. That's what it is.
Okay.
Just wanted to clarify that.
Ava, you got anything else you want to add there?
I just want to open it up to providers. I know this is last minute, and the different early care partners have not made a push for another advocacy day. We've had the Alliance Advocacy Day, we've had the overall Coalition Advocacy Day, we've had the Y Advocacy Day. It's altogether, we've had more than 120 parents and providers at the Capitol in the course of 2 weeks, which is amazing. You know, CSEA had their advocacy day this weekend, and Connecticut for All had their advocacy day this weekend, and it was another 30 providers. It's all been amazing, but because we're in the last moments, if you have the ability to come tomorrow, we will be there. I'm just putting, this is like a short plug that if you have the ability, an hour at any point in the day to come tomorrow to make one last push for the money, for the bills that Meryl just mentioned. Meryl, myself, some of our other coalition partners like All Our Kin and Voices, we are there. So we will be there. You have our cell phone numbers. If you don't, I'll put mine in the chat. And if you have the ability to squeeze out 1 hour and leave your childcare center or your home base in the hands of your very capable staff, then come on over. If not, we get it. But we're just really trying to plug away and make sure that these bills and these proposals don't die. So that was my 2 cents there.
Okay, so that I just got a question by a text message, which is, what's the status of 5051, which was the governor's early start bill? It has been wrapped into Senate Bill 14, so which is now passed the Senate and awaits action in the House. Okay. All right. Any other questions?
I see people making comments about there's a CDC meeting tomorrow in Hartford. Oh, that's good to know, Debbie. So if you're coming to the CDC meeting tomorrow in Hartford, and before, going back to your childcare space, if you can make, again, a stop by 30 minutes, an hour, whatever you feel is appropriate, come on over. We will make use of you physically being there and make sure that you talk to some legislators to plug away and see if we can get some legislation here. Okay.
All right. So there was a
Just wanted to
question
there.
about whether QWI, the Quality Workforce Enhancements, included family childcare, and I just answered there that no, they don't. The union contract is what determines compensation for family childcare providers. So if you would like to see something like QWI, then talk to the union about for the next contract. Okay, the question of, are there any details of what from HB 5051 made it into SB 14? No, they passed it at 1 a.m. on Saturday. I haven't read it yet.
Meryl, it includes everything.
Everything. Okay,
Yeah, everything was intact.
great. Okay.
I guess before we close, just one comment that's not legislation, that's related more to these calls, these Monday early care connection calls. I did get a direct message today that this time doesn't work for that particular provider. We are close to 4 years into doing our Monday calls, and one of the main reasons that we do them so early and we do them on Monday was because of the access to the guest speakers who are presenting on these calls. The time, there was a big debate in the very beginnings of these calls during COVID as to should we do it in the evening, should we do it in the day, and then we were exploring different times. When we started these calls, we were doing them 3 times a week, and we understand that for providers, most of those of you on this call are the director or the owner operators of your space, so you do have the flexibility to take time out to be on calls in the day, even though it's not the most convenient. But we are so far along with the time and the date of this call, and people who are guest speakers are so accustomed to that, and it is most convenient to get those guest speakers on, that most likely we will not change this time and date of the call. But I hear you, and to reinforce the fact that this call should be accessible to as many people as possible, we ask you to share the link of the recordings. We do have a website now. It's earlycareconnection.org, earlycareconnection.org. And on that website, all of our recordings are posted forever and ever. They're not going anywhere. They're organized by subject matter. So you can do an easy search as to OEC or Elevate. We also have a calendar that tells you of the upcoming calls. So if you know for a fact that you're going to be on vacation next week and next week doesn't work for you, but you really, really wanted to be part and listening to Jahana Hayes or listening to the state, and you have some questions, feel free to contact us. Send us an email saying, I have questions for that guest speaker and I can't make it on the call. And we will ask in live time that speaker the question that you might have. Or if you miss the call and you watch the recording, we always add the contact information and the links in the chat for the individual speakers. So if you miss the call and you still have a question, feel free to contact those individual speakers in their direct email to ask that question. There's ample opportunity to still participate and not miss the conversation. I know today we had over 220 people on. Last week we had 330. So it is widely attended. We've hit 700, 1,000 people on these calls, and they fluctuate. We never go below like 150, depending on the subject matter. But our mechanism of getting information out is each other. We have to make sure that we're holding ourselves accountable about the type of information we're giving and the type of information you want. So it's all about a communication and letting us know what you want, what your needs are, to make sure that we're incorporating those needs so you have access to information. These calls are for all of you. to flourish and manage your business in these very unbalanced times, right? So I just wanted to end with that. We'll see you next week for Johanna Hayes and hopefully the QWI conversation part 3. Take care, everyone.